Throat is fucked. Ah, so I was. Birds are chirping right now. Weird. Anyways, so I was listening to this this episode on the Exploring Antinatalism podcast, in which there was this, Amanda was hosting Kirk. I don't know. I don't remember the full name, but whatever. Kirk guy, and it was an interesting conversation, and there was a section in the conversation that I was listening to, and I thought, hey, maybe I should, respond to it. So it was around, the 35th minute. Yeah, 35th minute. It was about primordialism. Yeah, and it was, they made a few points, and like it was. I sort of agree with it in the sense that when they say that antinatalism is antiprocreation, and there's a difference between coming into existence and ceasing to exist. Yes, there's a difference. I agree with that. But this this does not make primordialism invalid. You understand? There's just no point. I would say that if you're an antinatalist, you should be primordialist. Like, I mean, I can make a simple argument, as simple as you the reason why you think that somebody should be spared of being brought into existence, why doesn't the same reason obligate you, so to speak, to, or the same reasons obligate you to, you know, just admit that I have to get out of it as soon as possible. It's in the best interest. So yeah, this was one of the points. This guy, he he brought it up, like, it's in your interest to end your life. It's an obligation to end your life. So if you're talking to me, there's some weird kind of inconsistency. I mean, that's just plain old stupid. I'm, of course, like, if you want to talk about I mean, if you want to talk about something, if the only reason the we're hearing, we're being informed by this information is because the people didn't kill themselves and they talked about it. So, like, that one's just plain. That's a no-brainer. So, and yeah, like, it was he was trying to say that if primordialism is negative utilitarianism, and because negative utilitarianism leads you to primordialism, and if antinatalism is negative utilitarianism, then they're essentially the same thing in the sense. So he was saying that if you can get the negative utilitarian out, then you know there's no connection. But I'm like, you can treat one philosophy, one, if if there's a difference, yes, but we can always talk about, when we. It's like when I used to have arguments with, you know, atheists that, oh, hey, you're giving me the same nonsensical rubbish, irrational mush that the theists give me when I'm trying to convince you to, hey, it's better that we stop exploiting animals, you know. So you can talk about these in this manner, but yeah, whether or not you're an antinatalist and a primordialist, or you're neither, it doesn't it doesn't make primordialism invalid. And I understand that, there's always this, you know what's the definition of it, like how do we define it, and we're always going to run in that problem, as you can see with antinatalism as well. There's people have different definitions, different reasons, blah 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 blah. So yeah, that's going to be a problem. But if you're if we're going to be like, what's the substance, I would say if we read I'm not good with names. Ji Wen Hong's, I don't know, that's how you pronounce it. Yeah, he basically made the hedonic argument for, primordialism, and he made the whole based on the asymmetry, based on Benatar's asymmetry, he made the argument that why it's in your best interest to go if you go to sleep and you don't wake up, that's in your best interest. And he made the argument in that. So that's one place I would say is, because I just, like, in my, how I define it is, I think how this is how I would say most primordialists that I know of would define as, death can't be a bad thing for the person who's now dead. It's illogical. It can't be a bad thing. And life is very risky, and we human beings think we have control, but we have a lot of evidence that we don't have control. So it's better never to have been, because you would be spared your suffering and the suffering that your existence is going to cause for however long it lasts. It's better that you're never born. The same is that it's better that you no longer be, in the sense that it will spare your future suffering and the suffering that will be caused inevitably by the continuation of your existence. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. And it's just like, there's another way to look at it, that this is one of the things, like, there's Amanda was saying that it's And for euthanasia, there was a discussion between euthanasia and the right to die and primordialism. And I would say they're two different subjects, but they're like right to die is the obvious. It's an obvious, it's so fucking obvious. It's like, hey, this is like the ABC. Like, hey, it's my body. I get to choose what I want to do with it. I get to choose when I want to, get out of it. That's my fucking right. Fuck you. That one's plain old simple. Primordialism is different in the sense that it's trying to convince you that, hey, even if you're all sterilized, even if every being is sterilized, or there are no males or only females, or I don't know, however you want to make it the last generation, that they're all sterilized, it would be still better for you if you don't wake up tomorrow. It would be better for you. You can't counter argue this fact. You're only saying that no, it's I have to exist because you are conscious right now. You're alive right now. And that's the fact. It's not like, there's a need, like, let's say, like, how do you get rid of the problem of absurd in this? Let's switch the scenario. Like, the mount of Sisyphus pushing the boulder up the mountain, and for what? For no fucking point. Let's say you're the only being here and you have all the, you know how to take care of yourself. But you also know you're going to fucking die, inevitably. Why do you need to prolong it? For what? What's being accomplished? There's nothing to be accomplished. Your happy moments are just because you have a delusion in your head that I need to exist, I need to exist. That's a delusion in your head, in our heads. We just, because that's how we're designed. And we're addicted to, it's basically like recognizing that it, like recognizing that, oh fuck, it's all so stupid and I'm just running the same maze over and over again, and there's a lot of blood here, and for my happy moments there's a ton of sad moments being experienced. So that even fucks up my happy moments. I'm like, oh fuck, I'm enjoying my, whatever, and there's a guy out there on the street sleeping on the road. Yeah, it puts you off because it's reality. It puts you off. So the ultimate escape is death. So, and it's not like it's in, like, right now, You have to kill yourself right now. No, no, that is. And first of all, I there's it's also like, you're not being inconsistent if you say that, yeah, at least some humans need to exist until we euthanize all of the other animals. You're not being inconsistent because the philosophy applies to all. It doesn't just apply to human beings or a single human being. It applies to like even in antinatalism, it's not just about one child. I mean, yes, you're preventing one child, but or one being, but it's recognizing the whole game. The existence is the problem. Existence is the problem. Primordialism is pro non-existence. It fixes the problem. It's I mean, I would it's very similar to aphilism. You know, like it's in that context, I would give you these two thought experiments. If you have a button that, you press it and every being on planet gets sterilized, and you have another button that if you press it and every being just gets wiped out. You can only press one. Which one should you? Is the question. And the primordialist argument is you should press the one that blows the planet, that wipes out all life. I mean, yeah, I can be reasonable and, okay, as long as they're not procreating, the problem is solved. But if I have the option, I have to recognize the logic that, yeah, just like the potential beings that they're gonna bring in this world, they're gonna suffer and die. These existent beings are also gonna suffer and die, and I'm doing them a favor as well by ending their misery. Even if they're having a good time, how long does the good time last? And how does it all end? That's the question. And why do you need to prolong it? That's what you have to establish, and that's very hard. There's like, how many animals are exploited for our existence? For every day. It's very hard to make an argument for that. Oh yes, I need to exist. So first of all, you know, it's also like apply, like this is a no-brainer. Like the animal doesn't need to exist at all now. Like, for what reason? For our delusions that, oh, I have an attachment, and it's all just a delusion. It's in their interest to be euthanized. Like even if you give them the good life, I would still say, because of, like, this is the principle, right? Because of the uncertainty of the future and the lack of control of this game, of how crude forces just completely change the game. Little viruses fuck everything up. It's still in their better interest that they get euthanized. So yeah, we humans need to exist to do that, because we can talk philosophy and understand the reality and the truth, and the need to get it done, get the job done. it's like, if you can, make your life completely, you know, like a breatharian or something, you don't consume anything or whatever, you still can't defeat the argument that it's in your best interest. Because you're not immortal, right? You're going to die. You're going to die. So, and I don't know, Amanda said that the philosophy is, primordialism is for death. I mean, yes, what else is the escape? It's for non-existence. This is how I put it. Like, the best thing that can happen to a living being is an instant death. And the worst thing that can happen to a living being, a potential being, is birth. That's primordialism. And that's in a sentence, you have to be, for you to be consistent, you have to recognize this sentence, that our addictions to living is just an addiction, and we can be addicted to it, but we still have to recognize the reality that it's best that we, stop doing this Sisyphusing up and down bullshit. Fuck this. It's just waking up that, hey, this shit ain't going anywhere. I'm going to a fucking grave or whatever, non-existence, and I do that every day when I go to sleep, and there's nothing bad about it. So, and when before I was 100 years ago, before I was born, yeah, I didn't have a single bad day. Nothing. Nothing bothered me. Didn't need smoke, didn't need anything. So, if you're dead, that's basically that. So, how can you be against death? If you're being consistent. So, I'm voting for an asteroid to hit the planet and poof, fuck everything up in an instant, because the potential suffering being avoided is, again, yeah, it's negative utilitarianism. The potential suffering that's being avoided is, and we have the evidence for it, right? We know evolution, we know the millions of years of pain and suffering that it has caused. We know how it goes, and we know it needs to be stopped. So, yeah, there's no need for human beings, but now that we are here, there is a need to fix this mess. So, yeah, those human beings need to exist. It's very hard to, even if you're a functional human being, like how, the argument that I get from people is that I have a will to live. And I'm like, that's just bullshit. It's like, I have a will to, rape someone. It's too stupid. I don't cause any harm. I just stay in my room and play video games. And no, you're causing harm. Like, you people don't get it. You don't want to recognize it. When, it's the animals that are being harmed, when you care about them, then it's like, yes, yes, stop it, go vegan, this and that. But when the animals are being harmed in the wild, no, 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 it's not. I mean, it's hypocrisy and contradictory. So, just maybe I wrote something else. I think that's enough. Like, yeah. So let's sum it up. Definition. It's the best thing that can happen to the best outcome for a living being is an instant death. You know that is a statement that you can. You know, that's going to be the conclusion. Okay. So now, based on what? Based on the fact that suffering exists and I can experience it and I know I can cause it and I can see when it is being caused to someone else. I can recognize it. So that's one. I think that's a premise people can recognize. It's yeah, okay, sure. Second is like life is very risky. Risky means in the sense that you don't know what's going to happen. Like you have no control in the sense that we have a lot of evidence. We can see what happens to people. One day they're in one place and the other day they're in someplace else. And what happens to the animals? Like, fuck. So it's very risky, and in this sense it's also risky in what you do. Like whatever you do, you're making the future, you're influencing the future and the present, in the sense that everything you do is going to have a chain of reaction. So the best thing for this whole cycle is this whole risk cycle of not being able to have complete control over it is the red button that we press it and all life goes extinct. That's primordialism in the big picture, the real thing. And that's the same as aphilism, right? And the distinction comes is when you say that it's okay if they're all sterilized, then okay, then it would be wrong for me to blow them up. I don't think that. I would say no, I'm doing them a favor if I press the button that blows them up. And in your own personal existence, like what you can do now and what you can accomplish, and how well equipped you are to do something. All these factors, where you were born, what friends you have, everything. It's just this is. Then we have to recognize that we're just brains, and it's it all doesn't need to exist. So we should all just look forward to get out of it as soon as we can. And if you look at it, the collapse the where we're all headed towards, it's going to happen anyways. So let's just get it done with. So yeah, this is sort of a definition, I would say. Answers. I don't know, answers most of the, you know, I like, there's no counter argument, right? So until I can get a counter, I mean, it's, I really tried to counter argue this fact that, hey, if I believe that, if I if I can argue and defend and I'm convinced rationally that it's best that I was never born. Like, it's just like this guy is saying, so if you're talking to me, then there's some weird inconsistency. Like, I think, you know, it's fair enough to say, you know, I've heard this as an antinatalist as well. Oh, you think it's better that you were never born, so why are you alive? So there's some inconsistency that you haven't killed yourself. So it's like, you know, that's not an argument. So I would say that is it just can't be a harm, because we taste it every night when we go to sleep, presuming we're not dreaming, and we know it was, you know, it's just the brain, and once it switches off, it's done. It's just going to be the same as where you were before you, you know, you were born 100 years ago. Before you were born, you were, you know, experiencing nothing, and it's perfect. So that's basically it. Either, and what's the other option? You become pro-life, and that's stupid. That just, like, you know, even when people say, oh, you're violating the right to life. What do you mean right to life? Right to, you mean right to exploit? You mean right to suck energy out of things? Fuck that. You don't have a right. Fuck you. So either you're a pro-mortalist or you're pro-life nuts. And I consistently, rationally, you know, based on how I look at reality and how I can argue for it, I I choose pro-mortalism. It's, and I personally, like, I can also, you know, it's linked to the right to die, in the sense that even if I don't have any mental illness and I'm not suffering, right? I have nothing. I'm perfectly fine. I'm having fun. I'm smoking and blah 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 blah. I still have the right. I don't need to give you a reason. I just can say that, hey, fuck you. I don't want to play this game. This is stupid. I think I have the right to call you people stupid, to want to live more. I think you people are stupid to want to live more. So, like, you know, that's my right, and I want to get out of this stupid shit. So, and I can say that, hey, I'm preventing, even if I'm not suffering right now, based on the riskiness and the uncertainty and the lack of control, that I won't put another life on this planet. You know, based on, you know, how brains get fucked up. Maybe next year I become a fucking serial killer or something. Something happens. You know, somebody hits me with a bat on my head, and, you know, I get hit by a ball or something. I don't know, any sort of fucking circumstance, unlucky, you know, unlucky circumstance, and, you know, I start eating meat again or something, you know, I become crazy. So, yeah, I want to prevent all of that shit. Even though I'm not suffering right now, even though I'm not bored right now, I'm gonna fucking party, and then I'm gonna take my Nembutal, and I'm gonna go to sleep, and fuck you. So, I can, I even if I'm a pro-mortalist, I It's my right to accept this shit, and I can use my understanding of reality that hey, yeah, death is better. You fucking cunts. You're too stupid. You people like to take risks. I don't. Fuck you. You people like to take risks with not just your life, with other people's life. No, fuck you. You breed them into existence. You torture them. You make fun of them. You disrespect them. It's so fucked up. And I'm not pro-life. Fuck you. Get away from me. And that's how even if I'm perfectly happy. I should just have the right to go to a fucking pharmacy or something and just take my go to sleep pills up the dose and go to sleep. Like, take my go to sleep for good pill. Yeah, that's something. That's gonna that's something that's gonna make me like in the sense it's gonna make me feel like fuck, it took them so fucking long to grant us this right, but it's still going to be beautiful in the sense that death ends suffering. That's one fact we have to recognize. For the existent beings, their death ends and prevents their suffering, and that's a positive. That's a win. That's what you win. It's the asymmetry argument again. You know, the the bad that you prevent is a good, but the good that you prevent, you're happy. I don't know. Maybe 5 years later, you're in I don't know some beach and chilling and you've got money. Blah 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 blah. It's just bullshit because you're alive and you have that interest and